Good evening. I'd like to call this Newington Board of Education meeting to order for May 28th, 2025. The time is 7 p.m. Please rise for the pledge if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deb, would you please call the roll?
Mary Beecher.
Here.
John Halloran.
Here.
Anthony Neely.
Here.
Timothy Newton.
Here.
Amy Karati.
Here.
Sam Sharma.
Okay.
Jessica Weaver.
Here.
Anastasia Yap. I have Ms. Carr, Mr. Sharma, and Ms. Yap absent.
Thank you. Okay, it's fixed, Mr. Marciano. Okay, we're actually going to skip around a little bit. We're going to do our appreciation for our PTO, PTA, PAC, and Newington SEPTO. So if we have, do we have people online? I don't think so, but we do have a bunch of people in the room. So would you like to come up and we can appreciate you? Where's the microphone? That doesn't hear, I don't think. Just this, sorry. Okay, so I see some Anna Reynolds friends. And E. Green. And do we have, you're Anna Reynolds,
Yeah,
you're
we're all
Anna
in.
Reynolds. Are you Kellogg too? You can be Kellogg too. And SEPTO, that's right. Sorry. I'm sorry, I'm really trying. Yes, thank you. Perfect. Oh, you got your thing? Yeah. Okay. So, I'm sorry, what school are you from? Chafee. So, these lovely ladies here are representatives from our school, PTOs, PACs, everything. That's how I got my start here, and I know the hard work that everybody puts in all the time for the schools and for the community. So we just want to give our sincere appreciation for the work you do supporting the schools, the staff, the students, the building, everything, because there's a lot that goes on in the school, but having that community and bringing it all together really means a lot to the families and everybody at the school. So thank you so much for all that you do, and we are very appreciative of you. You guys let's gather for a picture.
Picture with Miss Craig. Get some nice artwork behind you.
Yeah, why don't you just go in front a little bit and we can kind of like double up. Yeah, scoot in. Just kneel down in front.
Thank you.
I'll be back next year. I'm back next year. We'll be together. Yeah, I need.
Do you want me to do NCTV or?
Yeah, if you want to.
All right. Once again, thank you to our hardworking representatives from our PTO, PTA, and SEPTO. We couldn't do a lot of things without you at our schools. It is now my pleasure to bring up or honor and acknowledge NCTV. As many of you know, they tape or stream our board meetings weekly or whenever they occur, and they are an invaluable asset to us. So the Board of Education would like to acknowledge the NCTV staff for the support provided in communicating Board of Education meetings and various school activities to the public. It is a pleasure to turn to Channel 1416 to view programs relating to our school system. It is important for the district to provide information to the community on the accomplishments and needs in Newington. Many members of the public have commented on viewing the presentations on Channel 14 and 16. It's an additional step to foster greater communication between the schools and the community. The board would like to make this small donation to your organization, and we sincerely appreciate your support. So if our representative from NCTD could please come up. This is for you.
Thank you very
And
much.
can you tell us your name and give us a few remarks if you'd like?
Oh, put me on the spot, why don't you? I'm Jim Klusak. I've been with NCTV since like the 90s. So it's been a while, but we really appreciate the gift and, you know, we'll be working with you in the future for sure.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate you. And Webb is going to take a picture.
Oh, okay.
The board, you in the board chair.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. Thank you.
All righty. Now tonight, we have an award that we've probably never given before. It's an award to an organization called Tales of Joy. And in case you haven't already guessed, it's referring to the dogs that are in the room with us tonight. We are joined by three members of the Tales of Joy organization, and I'll have them come up if you think your doggies can handle it. I know they're very awesome dogs, so come on up. And while they're making their way up, and I would like them to introduce themselves and their dogs in a moment, but I want to tell you why. Take your time. We don't want any tales of joy to become tales of sadness. But tonight, we are taking the time to acknowledge the representatives here this evening. So can you make it over? Ooh, we got Milo, my goodness. As you may recall, I'm sure many of you do, that we enlisted Tales of Joy. You never know what's going to happen when you got dogs at a board meeting. Yeah, I know. I used to have a Maltese. They provided us unbelievable support during our time of need recently when we had, within a matter of days, a student pass away and a member of our staff. These dogs came to our rescue, and it's not overstating it. They provided support to staff, students, and the community. They came over a series of several days because things like grief come in waves. And it really was amazing when I reached out to the organization. They did this all call, and within a matter of hours, we had folks and we had dogs and the people that bring them in. I know. And they spent time with our students, our staff, and you can imagine, and I can describe to you that just the way people lit up when the dogs came through to comfort folks. We had all kinds of counselors on hand, but the dogs were the hit. So it's my pleasure to now introduce you to representatives, and the Board of Education is going to make a donation to this organization. They came out at no charge to the board, but we wanted to express our appreciation with a donation because I read on their website that kind of keeps them going. So let me go one by one here. Your name and the doggie's name.
I'm Christine Anderson, and this is Millie.
I'm Ellen Leonard. I actually live in town here, and this is Ruby.
I'm David Wright, and this is Toby.
My name is Ashley Werkler, and this is Milo.
So that is our Star 8 team. I don't know who would be able to take the donation, but again, our heartfelt thanks. And if you wouldn't mind letting us take a picture. Now, can you dogs pose for a few seconds? Would that be all right? I know, they're actually amazingly well behaved. I'm going to get out of harm's way here. Milo, you're awesome.
Gotta get out of the way.
It's blocking the board chair in her chair. There we go.
I know.
It's all right, buddy.
I'm gonna hold that. Milo, come.
All right.
There we go.
Now that's a portrait. Look at that. Look at that group. I have to tell a quick funny story that I'm not sure if all of our representatives knew this, but when I let Ms. Tigno know that the Tales of Joy were coming, I said, and here's the list that are coming. And it was 8 names. And she goes, wow, 8 dogs are coming. I said, no, Tara, they have to come with people too. So it gave us a good laugh in a difficult time. So would anyone like to make any remarks?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to you for reaching out. We're part of Tales of Joy, and we're part of a smaller group in Tales of Joy, the Animal Assisted Crisis Response Teams. So not only are these therapy dogs, we have also gone through additional evaluation of the dogs in a little more chaotic environments. And then all of us have undergone more training through FEMA and psychological first aid so that we can handle more of a crisis situation. So currently we only have 11 teams that are crisis response, but we're working on getting more people to do the training and come and do it. So and as a result, we do this when we're called out for situations like you had here in Newington, and we've done it numerous towns across the state for a variety of incredibly tragic, sad reasons. But it's nice to be able to bring a little bit of joy, a little normalcy, to catch people out of their cycles of grief and get the students and the staff to then realize their emotions and be able to talk to the counselors and make connections with each other and begin to process their grief. So.
Thank you once again for what you did for our school district in a very difficult time. And I will be singing your praises to any of my colleagues that might need similar assistance. And we are just so grateful. So thank you. Absolutely. We all know that Ruby likes to be well photographed. This is an award-winning dog. She's got they all have, by the way, they all have cards. So, you know, like you all have business cards, the dogs have trading cards, bookmarks. These dogs do not mess around. So once again, thank you for your contribution, and we appreciate everything. Oh, look at where they're leaving their calling cards. All righty. So we're going to segue. Hopefully, is Miss Tigno online? What was that? All right. Mr. Santoro, can you stay a little while longer? Your person that nominated you is desperately trying to get here. So I guess we do have, I'll let board chair speak to a slight, wait a minute, it's a miracle. A minute.
Come up here, Tara.
I'm gonna get my everyday, here we go. So, right on cue, Miss Tigno, when you got to see your friends. Oh, no. I know, you know. So, we'd like to bring up Tom Santoro, who is our everyday hero. Come on up, Tom. And by now you have figured out who nominated you. Let me read what she said. Tom, for those of you that don't know, is our manager of student information and data systems. And Ms. Tigno is a principal of our high school, Newington High School. Tom has done everything to make our data easily accessible and relevant. Anytime he is asked a question to make our lives easier, he finds a way. Most recently, he created an NPS discipline dashboard in PowerSchool, allowing us to see the breakdown of discipline by consequence, referral type, grade, time, location, race, etc. And then Ms. Tigno, if you don't know her, does acronyms. T equals the time to listen to what is needed. O offers suggestions, and M makes magic happen. Tom is the guy behind the scenes that without, we would not have anything to really look at in front of the scenes. He is a pure genius with the attitude that anything is possible and is able to take that attitude and make things come to fruition. He understands our mission and works to create things to move us along, not put up barriers that set us back or take the easy way out and saying, this can't be done. We are very lucky to have Tom on our team, and he should be celebrated for all he's done, all he is doing, and all he will do, because the work will never end. Truer words were never spoken, so congratulations, Mr. Santoro. Now, Ms. Signo, I know this is a rhetorical question, but would you like to say anything?
Sure. Well, I wrote that, obviously. I was thinking on the way here what I could say that would be funny, and all I could think of is Tom's probably so happy his name isn't William, because Tom is only 3 letters, so I only had to think of 3 acronyms, 3 words and not 7. But truly, all the words that I said are true, and it's literally every day that we're either emailing or calling Tom, and I can probably speak for hundreds of us in the district. Mr. Marciano's waving his hand over there. Administrators, but also staff, people say it all the time. What would we do without Tom? And I truly believe that. So thank you so much for all you do. And I know it's probably awkward for him to be up here because he is behind the scenes guy, but he deserves all the recognition in the world. So thank you so much, Tom.
A few words, but we'll do a picture with the board chair. Ms. Craig will be taking that. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna run back to the high school for the end of the athletic awards, but this looks good, Tommy.
Thank you, Ms. Tigno. Appreciate you coming out. She stops at nothing.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I'll just open up to quick board comments and then we'll get to our presentation and we need to do a little, so board comments, Mr. Holleran.
Thank you, everybody, for waiting so patiently. So for once, I'll try to keep it brief. Just kind of going through the list. I can relate to everybody who won an award here tonight on some level. Tom, my brother, works at Rocky Hill in a similar position, and they always say that he's in the hole, but everybody knows his name. He's in the closet making magic happens, but when you need him, he's there and things happen. And it sounds like Tom does the same thing. Truly an unsung hero of what makes our school system run. To NCTV, I don't think there's a representative here anymore, but
They're listening to you.
they're listening. You can hear me. Thank you for what you do. You help us provide transparency. You show us the inner workings of what happened. You allow people who want to be informed to stay informed. Way back when it was called community access, I used to do the same thing when I was in high school. So it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, you provide a really needed service. And I think that that's something that needs to be spoken to and recognized. NCTV, our PTOs, PTAs, PACs, and SEPTO, you do so much. Amy said that that's how she got her start. That's how I got my start. Let's hear it for Ruth Chafee, PTA. Yes, thank you. And with the guidance of the principals, those are a necessary bridge between the work that we do, the work that the school does, and the work that the parents do. And it is all volunteer. A lot of people join because they want to. They have no idea what they're doing. They just jump into it and they try and they figure things out. And I think if you have a passion for it, it is something that is very rewarding. So thank you. And lastly, Tales of Joy. Thank you very much for doing the work that you do. I think even in the darkest times, you show that kindness and compassion always shine through. And I think that is so critically helpful when people are in a time of need. So on behalf of the board and myself, thank you so much.
Ms. Beatrice.
I'll keep it brief as well. I just want to take a moment to thank our PTA, PTO, PAC, and SEPTO parents. We talk a lot about school community in this room, and you are the engines that drive that school community. And so schools wouldn't be able to provide the services extras without the heavy involvement of some of our heroes. And not all the heroes wear capes, but they certainly work the book fair, and they work the ice cream social, and they work the school dance, and work harder than anybody really knows until they get involved. involved. And so our schools would not be able to provide the activities without your help. And it's a lot, and we recognize it. So thank you. Knowledge is power, and there's no worse words you can hear in your office is that the system is down. And so, Tom, thank you for all you do to make sure that we don't hear those words. And information is what keeps our buildings flowing, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very, very much. NCTV provides a valuable service that we don't think about or talk about enough. It's available to everybody, and it is a valuable resource in our community to, as Mr. Halloran said, keep information flowing. And it's very, very important that we continue to support every opportunity that we have to publicize and to celebrate the wonderful things our community does. And NCTV is a huge part of that, again, run by volunteers. So thank you. And Tales of Joy, oh my gosh, when I heard the dogs were coming today, it's the best meeting ever. So thank you for all that you do to support our students, our staff, and it's a difficult thing sometimes, and we rely on each other to help, but there's nothing more loving than a visit from a dog or a pet that shows unconditional love. So thank you again for all you do.
Ms. Weaver.
I will wrap up this love fest, but I don't want to wrap it up because I love giving all this love. Just want to, all that was said before to Tom. I feel like we have like a lot of behind the scenes people that literally make this engine run. And when we talk about like every day here, we're saying these are the people that you don't know about maybe in the community as much. And we really like to highlight that. And it always shows when staff is honoring staff. So we always love this kind of a word, but I think Mary said it best that, you never want to hear those words. So, and we don't usually hear those words, which is great. And I know there's a million different cyber threats and all these other things in this world. So we need a lot more Toms in this world. And to NCTV, I remember like my days on Youth Adult Council when I was the youth part of it. And it was, streaming on NCTV, and I'd get a call from my neighbor going, I saw you on NCTV the other night. And I was like, I didn't know we had that channel. I was like, what? And so since I was 15, I've been watching NCTV. So very proud supporter of that. And our PTO, PTA, PAC, SEPTO, all the acronyms that we need in this world. I know a lot of us, we kind of, for those that don't know, we rotate and kind of get a schedule assigned of which ones we come to. So we thank you for letting us in. And every time I'm like, oh my gosh, how well run, how amazing everyone is in getting everything done. As Mary said, Scholastic will hate to see you guys coming because you guys are ready for a book fair, for school dances, for Teacher Appreciation Day. You handle all of it. Just seeing the interaction you have with our staff, and with our principals whenever I've joined a PTO meeting, it's just been incredible to watch and hear about everything that's happening and how knowledgeable everyone is, and really just get that boots on the ground. The fundraising that you do, the amounts that you're raising, amazing. Thank you so much for all that you do and for what you do. We always talk about the parent engagement, the family engagement, and how important that is in our school system. And truly that's what makes it run. We really need the buy-in, and not only do you buy in, but you pony up a lot of money to buy in. So just thank you for what you do. It really is not going unnoticed. And lastly, to our Tales of Joy. What a joy. I can't believe I have a dog business card now. I'm so excited. I just truly, and a couple meetings ago, it was just in the wake of the tragedies that we had. And it was one of those things where, Dr. Berman let us know how quickly everything was deployed. And, you hear about, I heard there was a therapy dog today, but to like see it in action, to hear the stories and the anecdotes of what happens and what's needed, particularly when it's, a succession of tragedies in a small community, it just means a lot. So thank you for what you do every day, not just for us, for what you do for everyone. And I will be contacting Ruby and my other business cards here when needed. But thank you all. I hope you all feel appreciated. And please know from all of us at the board, we really do appreciate what you do every day in and out. Hopefully this, you can at least get a picture with a dog at the way out.
Just to wrap up the comments, thank you to our everybody for being here. Just a quick plug for the PTOs. Any parents who are not a part of the PTO, join, go to a meeting. It doesn't cost you anything. It's really fun. You meet a lot of great people. and you have an opportunity to help the school. You don't have to be an e-board member. You can just volunteer for an event or whatever, but it's a really rewarding and fun experience. And you get a little inside scoop from the principals of the school because they kind of, and it's open access right there to the principal of the school. So I think it's a really great opportunity. Like I said, I joined when my daughter was in kindergarten and she's a freshman now. So it's just been, it's been great all these years to be a part of the PTO at schools, and every school has them. Even the high school, I'm not sure who is in it, but there is one. But yes, and therapy dogs. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for our community the last couple of weeks. It was definitely, as Ms. Weaver said, a really hard time for those in the schools, and but the dogs are bringing lots of joy. So thank you for being here. All right. Yay. Love fest. All right, so we just need a quick motion because we have to amend our agenda.
And you guys are all welcome to stay, but more than welcome to go if you don't want to listen to the next 3 hours of our meeting.
Mr. Marciano's presentation is gonna be amazing now.
No, this
so-
part, good. Yeah, just in our dogs, I didn't want to.
The dogs might not enjoy it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. This one was getting excited.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited.
The dogs.
Okay.
Hi, Ruby. All right, well, I will, we just got to amend our motion because we have some special guests tonight. So I will make a motion to amend the agenda to add Chafee Exploring Perspectives.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. How many are here? 6-0. Okay.
All righty. So thank you very much,
You're in.
Board Chair. Come on up. Mr. Marciano, Principal of Elizabeth. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Chafee, Ruth Chafee. Principal of Ruth Chafee.
Ruth L. Chafee School.
I don't need this, Dr. Brummer. You're going to present.
I
from up
will,
there?
yep, I'm going to boot it up, but
Excellent.
Mr. Marciano's here to talk about a key component of our reading program, but I'm going to let him explain it in more detail, and he's got some exciting guests that he has brought with him.
Yes.
Mr. Marciano.
So thank you. Again, Jim Marciano, principal of Ruth Chafee. Spent the last, it's been what, 6 months, 7 months? We're at 7 months getting to know the Chafee community. Very exciting place. Love the families, the educators, and the students that occupy this community. And I've been a part of Newington now for 11 years. And it's been a very positive experience for me all around. And I appreciate you giving us time today to share a little bit about the work we've been doing at Ruth L. Chafee with this part of our literacy program called Exploring Perspectives. So I will go over kind of how we're going to present this. I'm going to give an introduction, a brief introduction, and then I've invited one of our third grade teachers, Miss Aguirre, to showcase how that is brought to life within the classroom. And then she'll follow that up with, she brought 4 of her students, and those students are going to present the work that they accomplished as a result of the efforts within this part of the curriculum. And then I have some other samples that you can see that were brought in from other classrooms that I just took pictures of as part of the work that we've done over the time. So with that being said, just an overview of Exploring Perspectives, if you wouldn't mind hitting that next slide. So I'm going to read to you because you probably all had a long day, and it's probably easier for you to just kind of zone out and listen. So Exploring Perspective engages critical thinking about multiple perspectives, providing educators and students with a lens into past and current events, and helps them better understand how a fair society needs to be supported. It provides opportunities for students to ask questions, research, and challenge bias. Much of the work is done through constructive conversations in which students critically read text. So that's the essential component of what we're trying to accomplish through exploring perspectives. If you hit the next slide, I can kind of give you the themes that are present, which are interwoven. Oh, that is very small. So I apologize. It looked bigger on my screen and I can't see it from here, but I know it's there. So go back for a second. So there are four main themes that are interwoven into the different units. We have about 10, we do have 10 units. And within those 10 units, there are themes, those are located across the top, or they call them domains: diversity, identity, fairness, and action. And each unit capitalizes on one of those themes, at least for the first 8 units. And then in 9 and 10, in units 9 and 10, those are diversity and identity are together, and fairness and action are together. You can see there's key lines of inquiry that are part of the curriculum, which we call essential questions in curriculum design, that are the line for which we're exploring. And we explore this in the content of some of our units, which Ms. Aguirre is going to share with you on how she crafted this particular unit and outcome with our student representatives. You can see the focus concepts within K through 2, and then how they build in grades 3 through 6. If you can read that, good luck. But there are samples, we introduced concepts around stereotypes, concepts around bias, but go much deeper in grades 3 through 6. Obviously, what's represented at Ruth L. Chafee is K to 4 and pre-K as well. So if you go to the next slide, it's much better and easier to read. So the learning objectives center around participation in shared inquiry and dialogue to build awareness. And then as you can see in 3 to 6, they participate more deeply in reflection, engagement, to do critical thinking. And that's what you're going to see here today. They're going to talk to you about some real important topics, important to them, not important to me or important to Ms. Aguirre. These are things that they selected and are points of pride for them, right? Excellent. So one of the things I am fortunate to be, what's the word? Surrounded by very talented educators. Ms. Aguirre is one of them. And when I think about culturally responsive pedagogy, she is a model for that particular practice. She brings it into everything that she does, whether it's helping students understand how Easter is celebrated differently across religions, whether it's helping students understand how Halloween is interpreted across different people, whether it's talking about the American Sign Language and how that impact. I've had numerous opportunities to observe her and watch her bring things to life, concepts to life, content to life. So this is a perfect example. This quote is exactly what she does each and every day in her classroom. And I'm so excited for her to share with you how that's been brought to life in this particular project that she had students do. So come on up here and join me. Ms. Aguirre.
Hello, I'm Miss Aguirre. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Ruth L. Chafee. I love it there. I also quickly want to acknowledge Mrs. Morrison and Mrs. Brooks, also educators in my classroom. They are there for the success of one child, but they contribute to the success of all of us in the classroom. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming. Yeah.
As you can see. Okay, if you can go to the next slide. So this buzzword, culturally relevant pedagogy in classroom, is constantly thrown around, right? Especially in the last few years. And I guess the question was like, what does that mean to you? And every time I ask somebody, they give me some textbook form of something. This is my definition. It's a complete and radical acceptance of all the parts that make up students and educators. And when I say all the parts, I'm looking at beyond just race. Everything that makes up that person, that child, the communities they're from outside of school, home, the values that they have at home. Maybe they go to church, maybe they go to temple, maybe they just have a club. All of those things are parts of who they are. And I find a way to tap into it in these different ways. The environment in the classroom, encouraging differences, and that even though we're different, we're stronger. Through conversation, natural conversation, we often go down rabbit holes and talk about different things. Selection of academic material. Benchmark has been amazing with that, I do have to say, but even other materials that I present, and also interactions with others, right? Listening to others, letting students present. I have students who randomly want to come in the morning and present with full PowerPoints about things. But that's okay, because that is what interests them. Okay, so that's just my philosophy and how I approach it. So if you could go to the next slide. Mr. Marciano asked me, how did I come up with this project? This project is called Letter to an Advocate. It's a benchmark lesson. That's why benchmark's on the top. It's actually a culminating lesson from Unit 3, which is Government and the People. And they had to research advocates of change. A few units down, there's a culminating activity for exploring perspective, which is writing a letter. And all good educators, we prepare ahead of time. And I saw this opportunity and this opportunity to then marry them and make this one big giant project. There's going to be a few tapping going on. Okay, so this is the process. This is kind of the skeleton that I use for almost all my lessons, but this is specifically to this. The first part is that we brainstorm and discuss. What were we discussing during this time? There's gonna be a lot of clicking. We talked about the equities, the access, constitutional rights, and social issues right now. Almost everything is on the table to talk about. I keep in mind age appropriate and grade appropriate at all times. But we have enough on the table, and they have a lot of questions where we talk about different things. So we made a giant list on the board of all these equities and constitutional rights and social issues. And then the diverse exposure. The diverse exposure was through read-alouds, through read-alouds and videos. And I want to present to them, because there's a biography piece to this, different people. Elementary school is Martin Luther King, George Washington. No, I went knee deep in acronyms. So it was FDR, AOC, RBG, JFK, we were knee deep, right? People that they will meet in history class in middle school and high school. Why not start planting the seeds of that? So we watched a bunch of videos and read-alouds, every opportunity, every small little opportunity, whether it was snack, great, it's a working snack, we were gonna watch a read-aloud about this person, every little opportunity, and we made a giant list. This led to student choice, right? Now the students have a bunch of people that they've learned about with all these other things that we've talked about, which one makes connections for them? And they had to reflect, and they had to have choice 1, 2, and 3 for this one. Was it 1, 2, 3? Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, because the expectations, everybody chooses somebody different. And sometimes the choice that you want first is not the one that you get, so you have backups. So they got to choose, and now is where I developed my small reading groups. So I put all the presidents together, I put all the tech boys together, I put, miscellaneous group together, because there were some that didn't fit exactly in an equity, or I put them together. And during these small groups, there's one-to-one discussion with students, and also peer-to-peer learning. Oh, hey, I found this. Oh, look at this. After we've done that, then it's the research with the protocols around research. The protocols around research are using books, encyclopedias, appropriate digital resources, a little bit of sourcing, and graphic organizer. And the best part now is they get to create their project. So after they've done all that and they've read, they get to create project. They created, first part was a poster. Slides is the most famous thing in my class right now. We do slides for fun. I love it. It's different. Oh, they discovered animations on slides, by the way, everybody. It's a big deal. But that shows how invested they are to create things, right? Things must be clear, concise, neat. Nobody wants weird colors with weird colors, right? Thank you. But most importantly, now that they've acquired all this knowledge, they need to know how to talk about it, right? Because what's the point of reading and learning and creating and presenting if you can't talk about it? So we are not going to present about it. Yeah. Okay. So So this,
Stay up there.
okay.
I will,
You're gonna come to
move.
me.
You're
Yeah.
gonna sit there.
No, and they can stand right here. I'll get it. All right.
Give them a seat too, because it's.
So the first person that we have is this young man. And the tech people here will enjoy this. This is an example of me showing a person who's not, we don't conventionally study in elementary school, that is in the tech world, and how it sparked the interest of Aryan. Mr. Patel, please come up. Would you like to sit or stand? You want to sit? Okay, I'm talking about. Remember to introduce yourself. If you could go to the next slide. Hello, my name.
Hello, my name is Aryan, and I picked Steve Jobs because I like the technology of electronics. Technology is something that makes mankind's life easier. I like electronics because you can play games, do fun educational things, and more. I chose Steve Jobs because he also made the first touchscreen phone and computer available to everybody. The technology Steve Jobs made changed mankind. Steve Jobs created a phone so everyone has access to a better way of communicating around the world. Access to technology means all people should be able to afford the internet and other devices. If people couldn't afford the technology, they would not be able to get in touch that quickly or do jobs of today. Sometimes technology is used for bad reasons. Some students use AI on cheating on school essays. A good time to use AI is when you get home for fun or to talk to Alexa to turn off your lights. My letter to Steve Jobs is asking him for help on how he can make sure people use technology in a positive way.
So if you're wondering what we're doing like this, and I encourage everybody to do this, in my classroom, we are sending love and appreciation and good vibes and energy. And that just pumps, in a silent way, pumps up the speaker because it's really nerve-wracking to be up here. Thank you, Aryan. Our next person is very quiet in our classroom. And most would label this person as the student as a rule follower. And that's perfectly fine to follow rules, but also within that, it is important to advocate for yourself. So this young lady, this really quiet young lady came up to me, and this is the second unit, right? So the third unit, so it's very early in the year, and she came up to me and she said, "Can I please do this because it's important to me because of this?" I said, okay. It also shows how wide I cast the net of talking about cultural representation in our classroom. Miss Kate Hart. She chose Joseph Smith, freedom of religion.
My name is Kate Hart, and I picked Joseph Smith because he has a big role in my religion. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as Mormons. He was the first prophet to restore my religion. Joseph Smith stood for freedom of religion. He fought to be able to be a Mormon and live in America. In my perspective, freedom of religion is that everyone can believe in different religions and have different beliefs, but that they also have the right to practice their beliefs. It is okay to be different and believe in different things. In our Constitution, it says we can have freedom of religion. The Pilgrims came for freedom of religion. My letter to Joseph Smith was about how there are not a lot of Mormons on the east side of America because the Mormons moved west to Salt Lake City, Utah to have freedom of religion. The rest of my letter was about how we can make a temple on the east side of the United States so that there are more members.
I was so glad that she advocated for herself because I was blown away with what she wrote. Really quiet, but a lot to say. I love it. Our next person, I love that she wrote this letter to a person who is living now. And by the way, they had to write a letter about an issue they wanted to change. I don't know if I was clear about that. And so maybe one day the person will read the letter. Also, this is a perfect example of looking at these really complex themes through a child's eye. So this is Brooklyn Leahy, Misty Copeland, racial equity.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Leahy, and I picked Misty Copeland because I was interested in how Misty Copeland became a dancer and what she had to do to become a dancer as a woman of color. I also wanted to know about racial equity and why Tiana is the only Black American Disney princess. Racial equity means that people should not be treated differently just because of the color of their skin. I believe children should see people that look like them and their skin color succeed. They should also see themselves in characters on TV and books. This is called representation. Misty Copeland is one of the first Black American prima ballerinas to be in a Nutcracker. It was very hard for Misty Copeland to become a prima ballerina. She started ballet at the age of 11. It was also hard for She started ballet at the age of 11. It was also hard for her because of her race. People didn't think she was pretty. Did you know that Misty Copeland got custom ballerina shoes to match her skin? Then I was thinking about Disney princesses. I noticed that there was only one Disney princess that was Black American and not a lot of main characters of color. My letter to Misty Copeland was about why there was only one Black American Disney princess named Tiana and Princess of the Frog. I also asked Misty Copeland to help me animate some Black American Disney characters to be main characters.
So definitely a very complex theme through the eyes of a child, right? I'm telling you, they blew me away. Now, if you think that your children are not listening to you when you talk about politics around the house, you might be mistaken, especially at this age. This next young man that's gonna come and speak, every time he speaks, I get like little goosebumps. I don't know. I'm excited for your future, Alex. But what Alex came up and the connections that he made, and he made these on his own and went home and came back and then quite literally blew it up with the paper and just I was amazed. So our next speaker is Alex Feliciano, FDR, Economic Equity.
Should I?
Now do it.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I picked President Franklin D. Roosevelt because he really helped make the United States economy become better. FDR fought for economic equality to make the economy better from the Great Depression by making the New Deal. The New Deal was when FDR put thousands of people to work in community jobs that keep the U.S. safe. Today, there is a similar problem in the economy of prices going really high. This issue affects people in the country because then people don't have enough money to buy things they need like clothes, food, etc. I think everybody should have access to economic equality because it can help them financially. Economic equality is making the market more balanced and stable. This means that people in financial struggle have more opportunities to get out of it. My letter to FDR was about how today's market prices are going up, which is affecting the economy. A change I would like to see is our money situation getting better. I also wrote to FDR saying that if I were president, I would reduce inflation by increasing taxes on corporations and individuals making more than $1 million a year. What I would do with all that money I would have was pay people more and make new structures like FDR.
So that's just a small sample. Everybody in the classroom was able to do this. I think culturally relevant pedagogy allows students to be seen, right? I don't look like every one of my kids. My kids don't look like everyone. And if they even look like me, we probably have nothing to relate. But I try to tap in so that they're seen, so that their brains are activated, because we want critical thinkers, right? Problem solvers as they grow up, and not people who follow trends. And so this is the age where third grade is when they read to learn, and they're literally reading and learning.
There's not much to add to that, other than there's some other samples in here in terms of things I just added in, photos. This particular student took the approach. This is a fourth grader talking about physical bullying and wrote his letter to Dr. Brummett. The next one, I believe, is a second grader who wrote to Mayor Trister about homelessness and seeing folks on the turnpike begging for food and money. And shared that, her concern with that. Our kindergarten class was upset that not everyone was helping clean up, theme of fairness. So they did a class letter in relation to making that better. That one was written to me. And then the second culminating activity after Unit 8 was to write a poem about diversity, identity, fairness, or action. And so our younger students, our younger grades had gotten through this activity, and they'd done like a class experience. So you'll see some examples from that on the next couple of slides here. So this is one of our kindergarten classrooms, and they talked about including everyone. It's actually a big theme in their class, and they actually have this hand gesture, which I can't replicate. That is quite fascinating, and that they do when we talk about including everyone. And then you'll see here some poems from our first grade classrooms. You can see perspective, kindness, and fairness as the themes for those as well. Very exciting opportunity to bring our curriculum to life, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and that's it. If any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you to our presenters, our staff, and all the work that has gone into this, that wonderful education of these. And thank you to their families for bringing them out tonight. I hope you're very proud. They did amazing work, so.
Excellent. Do we have any comments or questions for our presenters? Miss Weaver, I know you're anxious. Okay, go. Anyone? Let's go around. Go. Yes. Someone.
Oh my goodness. We're constantly reminded in this room about the amazing work that goes on in our schools. We are so really blessed to share the opportunities with you. And I'm struck yet again, the caring, the maturity, the kindness, but just the intelligence, the emotional intelligence that I heard from our students tonight is mind-blowing. I'm always reminded, and I think I need to be reminded periodically, that our community, and especially our school community, is a tapestry. And when we think of tapestry, we think of lots of different things. We think about texture, we think about color, but we also think about fibers that bind us all together. And when we think about tapestry, we also think about historical. We can go to museums, we can see on TV beautiful examples of that. And when I hear what our students said today, it is absolutely mind-blowing. The way you tie together current events and historical perspective, but in a way that is mindful and inclusive of many, many different points of view, gives me such hope, not just for our young people, but also for the importance of the work that our teachers and our staff are doing throughout our district to make sure that these ideals are not just talked about, not just internalized, but brought back out into the community in such positive ways. So I cannot thank you enough for presenting to us, but also in a way that was so effective, so mature, and so special. So thank you.
Just wow. We'll use that acronym of WOW there of wow. We often talk about on the board, we have something called the portrait of the graduate. And it's what we want you to go out into the world after you finish at elementary, finish middle school, and finish high school, what you want to do when you grow up. And what do we want you to learn? And I think you guys are pretty much pretty well there and on your way for what a portrait of a graduate is. And it really is about being a critical thinker. And I'm just so impressed with what you did. We often have students come and we've had people singing, we've had dogs now, we've had a lot of folks here. And I always say, you know, I think you're primed to be at this table sooner than you think. But wow, what advocates to show that you can advocate for yourself and advocate for what you believe in at such a young age is so incredibly inspiring. I am jealous, as I always say. Can I go back to like elementary school right now? I want to take your class because it's just amazing. You guys have so many strong beliefs, and being able to not only research about them, but also articulate them in such a well-spoken way. I'm very impressed, not as your teacher just said, not only did you learn about and research what you wanted to do, but you were able to present and talk about it. And we all understood it very well. So, and also your slides look great. But what's great is that you guys are able to advocate for yourself. I don't think I could even pick which flavor of ice cream I wanted at your age sometimes. So I just want to say congratulations, you all parents. Wow. Thanks for setting great examples. I think it's just one of those things. I'm always impressed with the students of Newington, but the bar just keeps getting raised every meeting we have, it seems like, and the ages get younger. So congratulations to everybody. I hope you all, I think this will probably be on NCTV or something, but I can't wait to watch it back because it's on right now. We're live right now. Yeah. But it's one of those things I'm just very, very excited, not only for what you're doing in your current school year, but all of the school years to come. We're very proud to have you as a part of our Newington school community. So congratulations and thank you guys for showing us.
Mr. Halloran.
I've always got a soft spot in my heart for Ruth Chafee. It's where my kids go and went. I was in the PTA. But it leads me to think, why are we here? Why is the board here? Why are our principals here? Why are our students here? It's to educate, it's to develop, but I think if we boiled it down to its essence, it's to grow the next generation of our community. And that's what you are. Our job here is to get you involved, get you aware, get you talking. We live in a world where we've gotten very comfortable at talking at each other. And I think what we need now is to take a step back and learn how to talk with each other. And I think come up in the curriculum committee, when we talk about benchmark advance and culturally relevant pedagogy, what's the point of all that? And it's to find that balance, how to be a productive member of a society, how to be a contributing member of a community, how to work together to make things better. And you can't do it alone. So you have to understand how to listen, how to think, how to talk, how to negotiate and compromise. Those are hard things to do. And learning to do it now gives me so much hope for you, the next members of our community, Arian, Brooklyn, Kate, Alexander. Did I get Arian, Kate, Brooklyn, Alexander? Yeah, I got them all. You guys make me so proud and so happy. And even on long nights like this, it's a reminder of why I do it. I don't get paid. I do it because I want to do it. And I got involved somehow. And this is me doing what I can to be part of that community. And I can't wait to see what you guys do next. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Carr.
You guys did incredible, and you should be so proud of yourselves for coming out here and presenting in front of a full room. That takes courage. You guys chose such different topics, different individuals, but we could all see the passion you had behind your choices, and keep that passion alive as you move forward in life. Thank you, parents, for being such great role models to your kids, for bringing them out here. Thank you, guys. Thank you to our educators for setting the bar so high and pushing the students.
I just want to say that I'm so proud of you, you students, for coming to the table when you were presenting. Each one of you made eye contact And I could tell that you really worked hard on, yes, eye contact. I could tell that you were working hard, or you worked hard to practice your presentation skills. But not only that, the material that you were presenting on is very well thought out and so important. There's the 4 topics that were chosen tonight that you presented on are topics that I'm talking about with my classmates in grad school. Like, racial equity and freedom of religion and economic equity, because everybody is different and everybody has different perspectives. Even AI, because believe it or not, some students do cheat and that is not okay. So there's definitely a lot that you guys are learning at this young age in 3rd grade that is going to be so important as you grow and as you mature and just learn so much more, because already you're talking about topics and things that people a lot older are learning too. So I just want to applaud you and Mr. Marciano and your teacher. It's just amazing work, and thank you so much for being here tonight and for sharing your work with us. It was really special. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your school year. All right, that brings us to public participation. If there is anyone in the room or online who would like to speak, thank you. I don't see anyone. Time for bed. Take a couple cookies. All right, I'm not seeing any public participation, so we can move on to our consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as present for the meeting minutes for April 23rd, 2025 and May 7th, 2025.
Second.
Your motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Brummett for her Superintendent of Schools report.
Well, all I have to say about that is Exhibit A. All right, I'll add a few things to that. But I'll refer back to what you just saw in some of my remarks, and I will try to be brief. I know the meeting has a lot to go yet. So I should get this tab. So as a reminder to the board, this is the end of the year goal review, which I choose to do in public session, at least this part of it. And after tonight, the board chair will determine how my written evaluation will be crafted. But once this meeting's over, I will send this PowerPoint out that can be used as a reference point. And then at our next meeting together, there'll be an executive session to share the evaluation and talk about, what the board's feeling is about my performance. As I always remind the board, anything that's in my evaluation is FOIable. So there's always that caution about what to put in print, but it's up to the board about how they proceed on that. And then the board would need to vote on my contract in open session before July 1st. I believe the board has seen this document, that this articulates our vision and mission as a district. I know that the board is well versed on our portrait of a graduate. I want to draw your attention to what some of our focus for this year has really been about, is engaged learning and empowering our students. I think you saw some examples of that tonight already, but I want to illuminate that further in my remarks. We have a district goal and our district action plan that articulates a variety of things. I'm not going to read all of my slides tonight, but provide highlights that we're very committed to having all of our students perform at high levels. Many of our students already are. We want them to keep at it. Some of our students are not yet there. We want to make sure they get there. So we want to make sure that our kids have access to an educational program that they can engage with. It relates to who they are. And again, I think you saw quite a bit of that tonight. And our theory of action is around that we've tried to create learning structures and accountability that foster equitable experiences for our students and certainly honor their racial background and, again, elevate all students to do their very, very best. And that is the work of the Delta District Educational Leadership Team, Equity Leadership Team, that I want to spend a little time on. That, of course, I oversee the work with my team. And I learned how to do transitions too on my slides. I'm so excited. I was thrilled when I looked at our action steps that we undertook at our central office team, and proud to report we did them all. We have been engaging in learning walks at every school and working with departments as well as different teams in the district to calibrate feedback about what is high quality instruction or high quality work in a professional learning community, which is team meetings that our teachers have that have a very specific purpose. We have looked at our PLCs through our rounds visits, as have principals. They give their teams feedback, and those PLCs are used to talk about student progress and make adjustments when they need to for kids that are not quite there yet. We have participated in instructional rounds twice a year. We look at teachers and what they're doing, how they're interacting with children. And what you saw here this evening is what you would get if you were in that classroom at Chafee. And we have, as I'm sure you can appreciate, tried to elevate what you saw here today with Maite's teaching style to show that it's highly, highly effective. And we want to elevate folks that are doing highly effective things and bring them to scale. We look at our leadership practices. All of us in the DELT, in one way, shape, or another, provide support to schools, leaders, to make sure they have what they need to do their best work. And we, just so you get a sense of what a rounds visit looks like, we go into classrooms or PLCs, we take notes, we come back, and we discuss them. And I will acknowledge I do use an AI platform called Otter AI, which grabs our comments and generates themes. We used to do it the old-fashioned way with sticky notes. We've kind of graduated to AI, and it gives that feedback for principals so that they can talk to their staff about next level of work. And I will tell you, we did an Anna Reynolds visit last week, and today I received an email from the Anna Reynolds principal outlining what the information he took away from our rounds visit, and he's now sharing it out with his staff. So that's one of our ways. We also have case studies that we do. So if things are happening in the district that might be a valuable lesson for us, we discuss that in our adult group as well as sometimes with our administrative team as a learning methodology. We also engage in learning about achievement disparities and what that means for our kids and how can we go about shrinking those disparities. And I'm pleased to report you're going to see some examples of that shrinking tonight. So the data is very important to us. We look at it, as I'm sure many of you know, SBAC data is coming in now. We checked with the state, we're not allowed to share it yet, but as a sneak peek, there are some extraordinarily promising results in there that we look forward to sharing when we're allowed to. And during our instructional rounds process, we also bring along, obviously, the principals of the school. They often invite coaches. Sometimes teachers are involved because we think it's important for teachers to see each other in action. And there's many ways that happens, but rounds is one of them. And schools do a modified version of rounds, and they do learning walks, and that gives teachers an opportunity to share what they're learning. And at Chafee in particular, they're using a practice of teachers videotaping themselves and then sitting around a table and kind of providing feedback to that. So we're looking at many different ways to give teachers critical feedback to elevate their performance. Why are we doing this? We are increasingly diverse, and I know you've heard me say this anytime I have a budget presentation, but believe it or not, these numbers are different than ones I shared with you during budget. Our special ed has gone up almost 0.5% since the budget presentation. And ML is hovering right around 9.5%. Our free and reduced lunch rate went up about 0.5% since the budget was presented. So those critical data points clearly are changing month to month, and it's important that we adjust to make sure we're meeting the kids' needs. Our racial diversity is there. It looks a lot different. We are nearly 50% white and 50% non-white here in Newington. There's our top languages. That's also changed a little bit since I last shared that with you. But you can appreciate that these children come to our classrooms every day and need different ways of having the lesson presented to them in order to be successful. And if you look, what I want to draw your attention to is this is by school, the number of multilingual learners, which means kids whose primary language is not yet English. And since the school year started, so you plan your school year all ready to go, and boom, in walk 66 new students who require multilingual instruction. What I'm particularly proud of, and Kristen currently oversees this aspect of our program, she'll be sharing that next year with our world language department, but we see our numbers of multilingual learners shrink as kids age because they're benefiting from the program and they begin to acclimate and learn the language. So you can see the older they get, we have a little smaller percentage of children qualifying, but it's still a pretty significant, almost 10% of our population. And this is a longitudinal chart that shows you from 2011 to present. We have had increasing diversity, largely in the area of our Hispanic population and tipping the scales more toward a balance of 50-50 on the white, non-white in our district. Here's what I'm very excited about. We've worked really, really hard as a central office team with our various members, many who are around the table tonight, to really cultivate what's going on in classrooms. And trust me when I tell you, we have a long way to go, but we are seeing some positives here. These are our SAT results for this year, and Kristen Freeman may jump in here because she's much steeper into the work than I am with analyzing the data. But you can see that Newington is still above state and country in how we are performing on the SAT. You can see our English, is that English reading writing? Is that what that stands for? Evidence-based reading and writing. Evidence-based reading and writing. We're at 63%, whereas the state is at 58 and the country 56. Math, we are a little less. We're still above the state and country, but we'd like to get stronger there. And this is a percentage of kids who are meeting what the national standard is for this exam. Another exciting piece here is how we've grown. The state, is it the state or the national, Kristen? Is it state that sets the benchmarks or the growth?
It's the College Board that sets the benchmark and then also does the statistical analysis to determine what the expected mean growth would be.
So in the area of reading and writing, you can see that our students were predicted to increase by 21.2 points, but they actually increased by 28 points. So plus 6.8 more than what the College Board would predicted that we would have done. In math, we also did get pretty close to the expected benchmark. We were only about 3.6 points off. And I think you'll see through the night that we are making gains in both reading and math, but math is an area that we need to continually focus on because it is state and nationally, we're right in line with that, but we don't accept that. And we believe we have more work to do there. But we are seeing growth in our kids as evidenced by this test and many other measures that I'll share with you. One of our other areas of pride is our early college experience outcomes. I do want to thank Seth Korn. When he shared this data with me, he let me know that the state has taken notice of Newington and he's been called upon to speak to how he has grown this program in the past 5 years. And as you look here, we continue to increase the number of kids who are taking early college experience classes, even from year to year, from 217 last year to 246. Total credits attempted, I believe that'll be earned from last year, but this year we're potentially having kids earn over 1,400 credits, almost 1,500 credits. Last year we offered 17 ECE courses. This year we're offering 22. And when we talk to what is the return on investment for our families, you know, by paying for a much smaller fee for a course here, you're saving last year close to $1 million and this year over $1 million for your children. And then another point of pride is that we are seeing an increase in the diversity of kids taking ECE courses. We have offered more diverse courses, which I think also helps. But each of our students, our Black, Latino, and biracial students, each went up a percentage point in their participation. And our white students continue to participate in ECE courses at a very high level. Seal of biliteracy is another point of pride for us. We have kids that come to us speaking a different language. So we want them to more or less get credit for that, but also our students who are learning a world language. So you can see the progression here. In Newington, we started this program and it was a state initiative that most districts have jumped on. We had only about 6 kids during the first year who earned the seal of biliteracy. And what that really means is you have to take a test that shows that you're not only proficient in English, but you're also proficient in another language. And there's a procedure that you go through to demonstrate that. But you can see we are steadily rising. Last year was a particularly strong year. And what's awesome is it's a variety of languages that our kids are demonstrating. Spanish still is the most common one that our kids tend to be biliterate in, but you can see we've got Portuguese now emerging, Chinese, Polish, Ukrainian. And this year we're still tallying, so I think that number will go up. But we have, again, a significant number of kids who are seeking this credential. And we can already predict, based on current progress, that next year's class is likely to have this many students, and the class 26, 27, another, and again, this will likely go up. Obviously, old classes will not, but going forward, we anticipate these numbers going up as the various test scores come back to us. But I think this goes literally a seal on their diploma that shows they are considered biliterate in more than one language, which is something that I think is very important. We also have a test that our kids take if there are multilingual learners. And obviously the goal of that program is get them to be the proficiency level so they can exit. It's not a program that we want kids to stay in their whole career. So in January, 360 students took the Lost Links test, which measures their proficiency. And 60 students were proficient at that time and have been exited from services. And once they're exited, we still monitor them, but they truly are demonstrating enough capacity to go forward without having any direct ML services. There's another test too, the CAA-ELP, and that is an English language proficiency test, but it's geared towards students who have pretty significant disabilities. And even at that, we have students who are taking that test, 11 qualified to take it, and 2 have reached proficiency, and other students within that same cohort have made significant progress. So our English language learners are making progress. They do grow and they exit our program. Ms. Freeman told me a cute story today that some kids don't want to exit our program because they like our teachers so much, but we try to catch that because we want them to exit because it's what they need to do to show that they've made the growth.
Ms. Weaver has a question.
Oh, pardon me.
No, I just had a comment because I know we got a little sneak preview on the curriculum committee on all this stuff, but just that point on the links one.
The Lost Links, yep.
Yeah, that's still a very large percentage. Every kid in the program has to take it. So
Yes.
it's not just like you could have someone here one day and they have to take it the next day. So it's not expected that we would see 360 take it and 90%.
That's a fair
pass it.
statement. Kids come in on a rolling basis. That's how it works in public schools. So yeah, they might take it at a different, without having had a lot of exposure. Is there any comment you'd make on that, Ms. Freeman, or does that sound about right?
No, that sounds correct. The only kind of test exemptions that we give for students who are new to the country would be with SAT or SBA, and I think we give them a large window of about 3 months. But they take that every year.
So everyone gets the test. This is our district benchmarking that we do 3 times a year. and we do it in reading and math. And at our elementary level, this is district-wide, so it's all schools combined in the elementary world. Our goal is that we get all kids to green, which is considered that proficiency level. And you can see that our gap is closing. Our white students do fine, and they've gotten to that 80% mark. Our other students, Black and brown students, have closed the gap, 5% for Black and 11% for Hispanic. So again, we have a large percentage of Hispanic kids in our district, and if they're not doing well, we don't do well. And this is why we want to close that gap. You can see that at Wallace. We wanted to extrapolate that because they had some substantial closure. In fact, all of our subgroups exceeded the desired benchmark. Last year, there was, I'm sorry, let me look at this. The gap widened by 2% for Black students and by 8% for Hispanic students. However, that's district-wide. But when you drill down at Wallace, you see the closure of the gap. And I think I do want to put a little commentary about that. What we're seeing in our rounds visits, which are a huge source of data for us, but not the only, in schools that have embraced what you saw tonight as an example, and what we see in our rounds visits, schools that have embraced culture responsive pedagogy are getting better results. So, or have, been able to fine tune it in that way. And Wallace is a school that has done so, and that is why we're seeing these results. And again, our goal obviously is that it goes to scale and is widespread. Again, looking at our mathematics, still an area that we need to grow, and leadership by Michelle Kellogg has really brought the building thinking classrooms to us, and we've seen some really good growth there. And our white students are just a hair under the benchmark for that, but our gap for Black students has closed by 20%, and for Hispanic is closed by 12%. At the middle level for math, we're seeing gap closures as well, and we had to come back from a year last year where the gap had widened. So we do see, while the progress is not where we want it to be, we're moving in the right direction. And then just to close out, we have to celebrate things that don't necessarily fit into those data categories, but we have 3 administrators this year that were honored for their stellar leadership practices. And I think that's a tribute to the work that they do. And Mr. Freesy's right here around the table for his work in the HCD world. Ms. Tigno, who was here earlier as a leader of our high school, and then Mr. Trillo as an assistant principal at Wallace, all stellar leaders. These are things we're incredibly proud of. Our school-based health center, the ribbon cutting was a few weeks back, and I had a meeting with them today. We're continuing to chat about how to expand that. But right now, it's a highly valued service at the high school. We are talking about this summer having a clinic there with the school-based health center, so kids who are having trouble getting physicals or immunizations can go there even if they're not high school students. We just talked about that possibility today. We have and just so the board knows, there's no money going into that from the district other than some structural changes we had to make. All of those services are paid for by the grant or by parent insurance. Similar to the Connecticut Behavioral Health, they come to our school system, they provide mental health services, and it's all charged to the parents' insurance. The Nor'easter Academy, as I mentioned earlier, we got our $100,000 grant, and that has been an amazing opportunity for kids who can't really cope with a full day of high school, but they are continuing to succeed there and get credits so they stay on track for graduation. Look at our pre-K, folks. We continue to expand. Next year, we had enough interest where I was able to convert an AM/PM class into a full-day pre-K class. So now we have 2 full-day, full-week pre-K classes at Reynolds and 1 at all of our other schools. We have AM/PM programs at every school, but at Patterson we have 3. Oh, great, Patterson has 2 Ns. That was due to needs of some of our high need students, but I want the board to take a pat on the back for the work that's been done to grow our program of 60 students in 1920 to a projected 220 students in the upcoming school year. And we're also projecting just under $500,000 in pre-K tuitions. That helps to offset the costs. I'm definitely not going to read the next few slides, but I've already gone into the work of our rounds visits and the power they have. I want to stress too that principals come to meet with us here at central office 3 times a year. They bring in data. They tell us how they're making progress on their school improvement plan. And we hold them accountable because we want to see growth at their schools. We also this year had opportunity, though I can't quite get it in my head yet, that Mr. Marciano is actually at Chafee and no longer at Green. We made some really good leadership moves this year and they've landed quite well. Where we've changed people due to retirements or just different needs of the district, our placements of those leaders have paid off quite well. They're excelling in their new settings. I won't read this either, but we are continuing to gather as many grants as we can. We look at close to 3 million next year in grant revenues, and the Wallace project is coming in under budget. The reimbursement rate is strong, and that project, thanks to Lou and his ACT and Jason Plum and the work they're doing there to make it all come together in our building committee, and they're going to make a presentation next week, next board meeting, so you can kind of hear the description of that. These are just some of the things that we collaborate with in the community, which I think is an important part of our work. I won't read all of this, but I will send the board this as well so they can pour into it. These are all the collaborations we have with community stakeholders. And I think everyone knows what type of information the board gets, but I really think it's important that the board's fully informed about everything that's going on in the district. And these are some of the things I get into in the broader community. Kind of a new thing for me was I'm now on the board, so I'm a board member, Board of Ed members. The Southfield Children's Center, Steve Woods is on that board, and he had asked if a representative from the school system could be part of that to kind of interface with, and we interface with our community pre-Ks, but I just thought it was a nice opportunity to see what's going on a deeper level. And I know you're probably wondering about the survey data. It's coming soon. Maybe in time for the next board meeting, I'm not sure. We had to analyze what the state wanted from us this year, and there's school climate data that they were asking about. So we weren't sure if we were going to give out our old survey or the school climate survey, but after checking with the state today, we were advised that we didn't need to do that survey till the fall. So we did send out the other survey today, and it's got a very short turnaround time. So we should get some data back very soon on that. So in the interest of time, that's my presentation about kind of a quick overview of the year. I'll turn it back over to the board chair for any questions.
Okay, great. Yeah, so just a reminder, Dr. Burma said before the presentation, but we will be gathering next board meeting, an executive session to discuss her. What's the performance? Could not find the word. Discuss her performance. And then, like last year, sorry, Brittany, I didn't get a chance to reach out to you, but I just talked to Ms. Weaver if the two of you could work together and create a write-up that, again, is FOIable once it's finalized. But for now, if there are any questions for Dr. Brema on anything in here, otherwise we can discuss internally. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm just curious, on like the math and the reading, why isn't our benchmark 100 instead of 80? And if the reason I say that is because once you hit those things, you start to relax a little bit, I think. And if it's not 100, do we move it up or does it stay at 80?
We absolutely want kids to get to 100. That 80 is sort of the research-based trend about what, if your tier 1 curriculum is going as it should, most, if not all of your students should get to 80%. There's always going to be percentage of your population that may have learning challenges that in our country, in the United States, we all kids get tested. There's no exemption. So everyone is tested, and it is going to be kids with learning challenges or other multilingual learners who might not reach that 80% right away. The goal, though, is for everyone to meet and preferably exceed it. I don't know if you'd add anything to that, Ms. Freeman.
No, you should.
But yes, we absolutely want kids to go above and beyond.
Mr. Newton?
Got a question to tie in with that. That's the average, the 80 you're seeing. Do we ever have anybody that excels higher? I mean, I think that's what I don't see sometimes. I just see that 80 plateau like it's the average. But did we have 50 kids that were 90?
Yeah, so remember that the percentage is looking at the percentage of students who met the benchmark. So within that 80%, there are students who are right at the benchmark. Within the 80%, there are students that are above the benchmark. So that percentage is about the ones at the benchmark. And we have scores. So if you even see what Dr. Brummett has, I can't see it from here, but that is above 80%. So in that cohort, that is the white students for reading at Wallace, they are surpassing the statistical research-based 80% of benchmark.
Okay. All right.
And I'm so sorry, as I shared with the curriculum committee, the SAT is where it's tricky because there is no percentage that says a school should get at 50%. It is a test that was created by the College Board. It's not something that is created in the kind of research that we use in public education. So College Board lives outside of public education, although it is a tool that is widely recognized by colleges and universities, which is why public schools continue to use it.
Ms. Weaver?
Oh, Ms. Weaver. These mics. Question on the ECE, because I know that's like 5 more courses. Are some of them ones we were already teaching and got the ECE cross endorsement? Because I know that also means professional development for the teachers to get certified at UConn. And then I know there was a couple ones, I think that, I don't know if it includes it. I forget the years now, but like that Grow Your Own Teacher one. Just would love for you to highlight just an example or 2 of those, because that's a lot of money saved and a lot of cool things.
You're asking specifically about the courses. Off the top of my head, this school year, we added 2 new art courses that are at AP ECE. AP Pre-Calculus was new.
It's okay if not
And I'm
now. I
getting a
just
little-
I think it's.
I'm sorry, AP ECE, European History. Or was it Western? Yes.
It's West.
Yes.
I took Euro, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Or Western, whatever. Okay.
So, but next
Nice.
year, we're adding 2 more. There's going to be an AP health class. It is Health for All, but that is going to carry an ECE credit. And the second course, my gosh, I don't think that one, no, that one's not ECE though.
Are we partnering with Sacred Heart to add,
Yes, thank you so much. The Black and Latino Studies is going to carry a college credit through Sacred Heart. Yes, thank you.
so that was cool because we want, a lot of kids like to take that course and we wanted to attract more kids to take it with the credit. And this doesn't reflect, this really is UConn data, so it doesn't reflect all AP courses, but as you know, some do both. But we'll make sure we have that full list. And I forgot to mention, excuse me, Seth was able to get a grant, about a 2-year grant of $50,000. So that really did help us. And it had limitations on what you could use the money for, but it helped us buy some materials for ECE courses. I don't know if we were allowed to do any training with it. It had really very strict parameters, but it allowed us to move forward. Books can be expensive. We were able to buy specialized cameras for the art course. So there were actual opportunities through that grant to advance ourselves as well.
And just would love to highlight, like, I don't know how we do this, but where we are in the state, I thought we were like number 3 or something. I just think it's an incredible statistic. I know.
Find out what our current status.
Yeah, our current status.
Because they reached out to us for pointers, but I don't know. Let me find out what our exact ranking is.
I think if we're going to include this in your performance and things, it's just one of those things I've been incredibly impressed with. I was already impressed when I was there and could go in as like a sophomore, or, you could get so many courses. And at least when I was there, it was like your grade transferred too. Like you could come in as a 4.0 student at UConn, and that's just, I don't know. I guess we can't put a price tag on it, but.
Well, we do. It's about $1 million. Which is not too shabby.
Ms. Beatrice?
Just another question on the AP courses and the ECE courses. Are those classes full to capacity? Are there waiting lists? How is it shaking out? Are the kids getting what they need when they need it?
Yes, to every single question you ask. We have one course this year that was maxed out, and there were students that could not participate because so many students wanted to take it. We have other courses that would be considered more of a typical class size, especially in an art class of about somewhere between 18 and 20 students. So it really runs the full gamut. You're welcome. When it comes down to it, I'll just add that if we have a course where only 5 students are enrolled, it usually is just impossible to run the course because there's a need for our teachers to be teaching full classes. So it would be very, very rare that we have a very low enrollment in an ECE course.
Are we in a situation where we might have to add sections to the ones that are full and fill up quick?
We need to add sections to the one that has filled up quick and there's nobody else to teach it. Yes, so Lucy Antonio is working with the social studies department to hopefully get somebody else certified to teach that course. Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay. So thank you, Dr. Brummett. We will talk again.
Excellent.
Okay, so for new business, we have healthy food certification. That time of the
Yes,
year.
I don't know if
I don't see Dana.
Dana's not on. It is a standard protocol each year and it's required to assure our, the state that we are complying with all components of the healthy food certification. This ensures that we get maximum reimbursement on all of our, food-related expenditures, within our program, our lunch, breakfast and lunch program. And, without getting into the nitty-gritty, we have to be very careful about selling other food during the school day. We have a culinary art program, but they can't sell food when lunch waves are happening because it is not allowed. So there is a flow chart in your packet that kind of illuminates how this has to work. So we just have to adhere to this. We have to run it by the board annually for their, for lack of a better word, blessing. Because if we don't have this on record, it's detrimental to the reimbursement of our lunch program revenues. So I'd be happy to entertain any additional questions. But the board has probably seen this numerous times. And they're very particular about the words too. One year we didn't do the word right and it had to go right back. So the words are right this time.
Okay, so there is a motion.
All right. Read just the first motion. We want to pass those separately.
Yeah, I think so, right? We've passed them
It's his motion.
separately.
So
I would recommend
it's-
that.
Yeah.
Just because they're
Yeah.
picky.
Okay. All right. Pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 10-215F, the Newington Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Seconded by Mr. Newton. Is there any discussion? Okay. Could you please do a roll call vote, please?
Mary Beatrice,
Yes.
Brittany Carr,
Yes.
Sean Holland,
Yes.
Anthony Malik,
Yes.
Timothy Newton,
Yes.
Amy Parati.
Yes.
Jessica Weaver.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And the second one?
Vote 2 for food and beverage exemptions. The Newington Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice meeting or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'll vote.
Mary Beatrice,
Yes.
Brittany Carr,
Yes.
Tom Halloran,
Yes.
Anthony Mealy,
Yes.
Timothy Newton,
Yes.
Amy Parati.
Yes.
Jessica Weaver.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously 7-0.
Thank you. All right. Next item is our educator and leader evaluation and support plans. Mr. Farisi.
All right, thank you so much. Annually, we are required to share, in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, the update and the status on the evaluation of all certified staff. So that includes certified leaders and certified educators, folks who lead our district and folks in the building. This year, we had about 365 certified staff that were evaluated and 29 certified administrators. In 2013, legislation came out that kind of put a lot of context and structure to the evaluation process. At that time, one of the more significant elements that lasted about a decade, a little more than a decade, was that educators and leaders were rated for their performance. As you may recall, legislation changed a decade later in around 2023, and they caused all boards of ed to create and adopt a system that did not or no longer had ratings. You all adopted that last year, and we are implementing it this year. So this is our first year in an evaluation system for both educators and leaders that focuses more on growth and development than ratings. And we have found the implementation of this new system to be highly productive. It has led us to more productive goal-setting opportunities, more productive opportunities for professional learning aligned to an educator or a leader's goal, and more productive to conversations around what is working and what might need some growth and development in classrooms and in schools, so we can continue to grow the performance that was shared with you earlier on that screen. So what this report shows is just a highlight of some of those items within the educator evaluation system and the leader evaluation system, and just kind of the structure of it. So what you'll see in the educator evaluation system is that it is broken up into two cohorts. Cohort 1 are folks that are in years 1 through 4 of their non-tenured career here in Newington. And then cohort 2 is everyone who is tenured, so years 5 and beyond. For leaders, the 10-year timeframe is 2 years. So cohort 1 is from 0 to 2 years, and then cohort 2 is from 3 years and beyond. So we find ourselves with folks in working in this system at different levels and different cohorts, meaning that they are have opportunities for growth at different levels. We obviously want to pay a little bit more attention to our folks in cohort 1, give them all the professional learning and development and feedback that they can receive early on in their career so they can become expert practitioners. And hopefully those mentors that I shared with you last meeting, because that helps continue to grow our profession. So this is the system that we are working in now. Myself and Miss Talisha Foy run what's called the PDEC Committee. It is a district-wide professional development evaluation committee, PDEC, that oversees the evaluation systems. Ms. Freeman is also on that committee. And we work throughout the year to take feedback in from our staff on how the evaluation system is working or not for them. We review and churn that data to see if there are ways that we can improve this system. And we have made some, and will be making some on our last meeting, June 6th, shifts a little bit in the system, minor tweaks, so we can engage in continuous improvement ourselves. So that way this system is working to grow educators and leaders. That is its ultimate goal. So that we can meet our district mission, vision, and goals and align the two. So that's just a summary of this report that you have here, and I'd be open to any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Mr. Holleran?
Thank you very much, Mr. Creasy. It says here that reviews of practice are non-classroom observations. So I'm just curious as to what that looks like in a little bit more detail.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So there are other opportunities and ways in which teachers engage in professional responsibilities that are not necessarily always in the classroom. One thing I think you saw in an acronym that was in some of the other presentations would have been PLCs, or professional learning communities. So when a group of grade 2 teachers at John Patterson or Ruth Chafee Elementary School, not to be confused with the E. Green, come together, you know, they come together, right? They are engaged in data reviews, really digging deep into the curriculum, looking at what instructional practices worked in what they just taught, and what data showed for student performance, and then what they might have to tweak or change. So those are extremely important planning meetings that then inform what teachers go and do in classrooms. So we would want to observe those, see how folks are working collaboratively together, engaged in that process, provide feedback, and help them grow as a team, as well as what they do as a practitioner in a classroom.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you.
Just quick question, sorry if I missed this, but on the participation, is there a reason why it's not 100% are evaluated every year, or?
Would you mind just which page you're on?
3 of the.
3-ish?
Yeah. I have it highlighted. I don't know. In mine, for some reason, is it highlighted? Might be grayed out in your part.
Yeah, so those are not, right. So the 60 out of the 365,
Yeah.
so 365 total staff.
Yep.
Out of those, 60 of them were non-tenured.
Oh, okay.
So they
I see.
participated.
Sorry, I
in the-
misread that. I was
yeah.
like,
And
it's not
really, I
100%
could
of
use,
staff getting certified.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And just to be in alignment with what I shared earlier, those non-tenured staff, they really could also be called cohort 1, because that's the level in which they fall under. They have more observations, more opportunities for feedback, growth and development. And so, yes, the remainder of those folks are getting evaluated. They're just under cohort 2.
And just curious, because I know this is a requirement for, okay, I was like, I think I read that wrong. And then it was like, that made sense. Just in terms of how this compares to our, maybe other staff, so like our paraprofessionals and those kinds of things, is there a similar kind of practice? I know we're required to report this kind of stuff, but just how that looks comparatively, knowing that there's integration and obviously some overlap between the two.
I appreciate that. The jobs have a lot of similarities, but also many differences in regards to what we need to show educators and leaders do to maintain their certification, which this helps support. So our paraeducators, our learning tutor group, our security officers, our custodial group, they all have a version of an evaluation. Our secretarial group all have a version of an evaluation that we use. It is different. It doesn't align to the standards for teaching, but there are elements of that we bring down that makes sense to align to whatever working group you're in. If you're face forward with students, or maybe you're a little bit behind the scenes in a kitchen, and we have crafted those accordingly, so that way every group does engage in a goal setting process and an appraisal. Yeah.
Looks like you did a great job explaining it. Thank you. And there's no action that we need to take on this, right? Okay, thank you. All right, so next is our computer purchase program report.
So just turn on the mic here. Displayed on the board is a program that's been in place for, it looks like, since the 90s, that the district created to provide our teachers with access to purchase a computer and then paying it over time out of their paycheck. So you can see historically the level of participation. And to present, we have currently 5 people on the program. So what the ask is tonight is, does the board choose to continue this program into the upcoming school year? So it really is just, the form there is what we'd ask teachers to sign to signify that they're going to pay back what is afforded them throughout their year of the payroll deduction. And again, as the years have gone along, the participation has gone down a little bit, but it seems to be a program that has valued the district. I don't know, Lou, if there's anything you want to add to that.
Over the 30 years it's in place, in the early days when the old style XT computers were $4,000 or more each, and teachers were making $25,000, $30,000 a year, the benefit of the program was really substantial because it allowed them the full year to be able to manage a purchase that was really of high interest and high utilization and high skill development for the staff members. As the years have gone by, the program is more affordable because technology is less expensive. The good things that have happened is we have branched out on it, and some of the non-instructional or non-teaching support staff in the schools have taken advantage of the program as well. So that's a group of staff members that didn't originally have access to this, but now do. So it doesn't cost the board anything to do this. And there's a limit of $2,000 on the overall transaction. So I'd wholeheartedly recommend continuation of it because even if it only catches a few people each year, it could be really meaningful for their career and for us as far as the benefit that's received.
Thank you. Do we have to vote on this or?
It appears that there needs to be a motion. I don't see one on this document.
We just go for it. Make it up.
Yeah. Move that the Newington Board of Education continue the computer purchase program for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Great. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Awesome. Motion passes unanimously. 7-0. Okay. And professional learning report.
To Mr. Farisi.
All right. So this report aligns well to the last report. When we think of everything Dr. Brummett shared in how we're performing as a district, what we try to do is align all of our systems and structures to continuously meet what our mission, vision, and goals are as a district. So we have an evaluation system that allows individuals to kind of look at those and then tailor what they need to be able to help us achieve those. So then what we also have to do is design a professional learning system that allows them to grow within our structures and what we have in place. So that way they can engage in continuous growth and development to be the very best that they can be. We are a human business, so our charge is to develop humans as best as possible, right? In the craft of teaching and leading is what we do. So you can see up front what our vision, mission, and goals are this year, the priorities. And then behind that, you'll see why I come to you every budget cycle and I request a significant amount of money for professional learning, because we engage our staff in a boatload of it, numerous pages behind that of the professional learning that I think when you look at it, either aligns directly to what teachers need to be the very best they can be as individuals because they've identified something in their evaluation system according to our educator rubric that they can grow in, or aligns directly with the district mission and goals. So you'll see in the first number of pages, those things that we do on early release Tuesdays or full day professional development days that you give us when you approve a calendar every year. And then behind that, you'll start to see sometimes we need expertise that's outside of the organization to come in and support us with new learning. So we have folks from consultants come in. That is a very short list, and I say that with pride because I believe our educators and leaders are highly skilled in Newington, and they can provide a lot of the professional learning that we offer. But there are times when you do need an expert or someone different to come in who's seen it and done it in a number of ways that can bring that learning to us. And then the last thing you'll see there are also times where we want to send people out to workshops because we just can't replicate that type of learning in-house. So we might send individuals, but mostly we send small groups or teams who are then required to come back and provide that learning to the rest of their staff, or maybe a grade level or a content area. So that way we can all learn and grow from it. And the dollars that we spend on professional learning help more than just the people who are able to get it. So those are the types of things, and we just literally put everything that we do because I think it's so important for you to see where our dollars go, and they really are to help our staff be the very best they can be. We look at it as a strong part of our retention program.
Thank you. It's definitely a strong part of retention, but also just making our teachers able to teach and learning. We see like Mrs. Moden's been teaching for quite some time, and I'm sure she's participated in several of outside conferences and learned and brought it back, and we saw just how great her teaching style is and how it's changed. But it's always great to see this list because we do talk about it. I believe we cut a little bit of the professional learning budget, but a lot of this is, like you said, the people we already have employed teaching others, and we're all about learning. Like continuous learning is so important in everything that everyone does, just for your whole life. It's always important to continuously learn. So I think this is a very great report, and it's just good to see on paper the pages and pages and pages of things that our educators are learning themselves. Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Holleran?
I love this list. It's extensive. So it really shows the work that we're going in. And I don't know if there's any confidentiality or anything we have to consider, but would we be able to know the topics before the professional development day? Like, because I think a lot of the perspective is like, oh, it's another half day for teachers. If we had, but they're going for this is the agenda ahead of time, it might give a little bit. Yeah, right. Like next Tuesday. Yeah. And I don't know how much we can release. There might be some context to that too, but I love this list. I just wish I had it before.
So I just want, if I'm hearing you correctly, so an early release Tuesday is coming up this coming Tuesday. And so if the board could see like what are the offerings that staff are participating in on that Tuesday?
Yes.
Gotcha.
From the parents' perspective. And I'm speaking as a parent, from a parent's perspective, and just what I hear, it's like, oh, every other Tuesday is a half day. What are they doing? What are they doing? If we can give more visibility into the work that's being done, I think it helps you have a more educated conversation about why we have professional development days other than teachers are getting another half day.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's a great suggestion.
To reiterate what Sean said, I think it's important that we see an agenda. We don't necessarily need to know who's going to it, because then you might get issues. But I mean, just a simple agenda that on Tuesday, they're going to be covering the following topics. I think it puts us at rest. And when people ask us, what are they doing? We have something we can say, because we do get that question, like you said.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. There's probably lots and lots of things. The agenda would be, but maybe highlights of it, because it's definitely like each PLC is, you know.
Yeah, it would
But yeah,
be
topics for
a
sure.
big list, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we could
Yeah, no,
pull it down.
great ideas. We can work on that. Definitely.
Ms. Weaver.
I would just love to highlight, like, I know we've done it in the past, but like, I know Mr. Trillo and Mr. Dyes went down to, go and present. Just would love to see like also which ones are the presenting ones or whatever, like the amount, I think, obviously they're going through a lot of professional learning themselves, I think. But just like the amount they're teaching others, right? So in that, if that's encompassed in there, because I know our teachers are not just teaching each other, but teaching other teachers. And I think that's one great thing to highlight too of the, you know, external exposure we get for our teachers that are doing some great work. If possible.
Sure it is.
Okay. Thank you for this. And moving right along, we've got policies.
We are gonna go quick, y'all.
Okay. Miss Weaver.
All right. So there's gonna be two kind of parts of this, right? First part is ones we're bringing to you just now. And just full disclosure, our goal is to still get through like the 3,000. So if you have to add a virtual special meeting, maybe just to get through all the 3,000s, just to approve these. But we want to make sure we come to you with our policies, then come back to them. Just making sure there's, you know, rigorous due diligence. We're not required to do that, but we want to make sure that's kind of the policy we keep or the process we keep. So just going through the 3,000s that we have here. And as always, my incredible policy team with Ms. Carr, Ms. Beatrice, and Mr. Farisi just absolutely killed it last meeting. So first we'll start off with relations with vendors. And this is all under the 3,000 series is the business and non-instructional series. So it's quite a hodgepodge of different things. But the first one, we just had a couple edits. Is this the one that you rewrote, Ms. Carr? Yourself? Yep. I think that's the one you did, if you want to speak to it.
So again, a lot of these is just reformatting to make it clear. So this was titled just relations with vendors, and it wasn't talking about that second paragraph that talks about endorsing. So when someone is an employee of the district, and let's say, for example, they get an endorsementship with Staples, they can't be making videos that say, oh, I'm a Newington Board of Ed or Newington teacher and I use Staples. So it's that distinction. So that's why we renamed the policy to relations with vendors and endorsements with vendors and broke it as such and made it clear.
Next one, it was 3313.1. No idea why, but local purchasing. The weirdest again. So and you'll see the yellow parts that we are trying to renumber in a suitable way. Again, I think Ms. Carr, you can help rewrite this one as well. If you want to speak to, she's a wordsmith.
I do enjoy writing. So again, we want anyone in the public, they can open a policy and understand what the point is of the policy and what we're trying to get at and not make it too wordy. So saying that we understand the responsibility is to basically ensure the educational value is maximized in relation to cost. Local purchasing will be favored. based on the following criteria. We did not change that criteria because we believe it still stands. So if you scroll down, you'll see the criteria we look at. And I think that's it. Want to see if
Yeah.
anything to add, Ms. Weaver?
No, I think just the first sentence, just FYI, it's not hit there, but we will cut that first part. It says, as a public agency, we were like, just sounded weird. Again, just some of the verbiage. So nothing substantive and change, just wordsmithing in the best Brittany Card fashion we have. All right, next one, purchasing procedures. This one, is that the next one I had? Sorry. 3320. Yep, sorry. I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's okay, there's 6 more to go, don't worry. Okay, we cut this first sentence because it said in making purchases, the principles of good economy shall be used. And we don't know what the definition of good economy is to folks. I think we all may have definitions of what's good. So we felt that was quite subjective. So we just felt we would cut out that part of confusion and then obviously note that it's for purchases, it's those that are priced the lowest, which meet the specifications required based on the variety of factors, i.e. quality, economic maintenance. Those were already kind of used, but we wanted to make sure those were included as some. And then obviously we have a variety of factors already listed in the other policy. So we struggled with that for like 30 minutes of how bad that was worded, but alas. All right, on to the next. That was the only change there. Next one was 3326, paying for goods and services. We noticed that it mentioned a town treasurer, and we did check. We don't have a town treasurer. Not sure when we changed to finance director, but we felt that was out of date. And then also just noting that to kind of ground this policy, using that examples of what this looked like, we were really trying to get, and I think we even asked Mr. Rishi to say, what is this actually talking about? Is this bills to be paid from town funds? And we were trying to find examples of what that would look like, because obviously all of our budget is within the town budget. Again, another 30-minute conversation of what that actually, the intention in the meeting are. We do critically analyze in policy. So we still felt that the criteria was correct, but just wanted to include that example of what that would look like. So examples include an appropriation to capital improvement. So like example would be when I think a couple years back we had a roof project and the town found a way to pay for it more efficiently and those kinds of things. I think that we were trying to find those situations where it's applicable. So that was that. Next, travel reimbursements. Yay. Which will now be travel reimbursements / use of school and vehicles, because there wasn't anything actually on travel reimbursements in this policy. So we added that policy, part of the policy. All under travel reimbursements was just the employee use of school and vehicles. So we thought we'd change the title and add the correct thing under the actual policy itself. And it is correct that those are in accordance with state mileage reimbursement rates. We even went and looked up the state of Connecticut reimbursement mileage rate things. We know what it is. And all negotiated through local contracts if not. Pretty straightforward. Go to the next one. And that is the fiscal accounting and reporting. We just wanted to make sure, again, that just sounded better. So we literally just put out in accordance with law. I literally was like, what law? It doesn't have any general statute reference in this policy, which usually happens. There is no general statute that says, that dictates the actual reporting of that. So, and we did make sure prior to August 31, the superintendent reviewing outstandings and encumbrances, we wanted to make sure that was reflective of current practice. If not, we can go back and edit that, but we felt that that was reflective of current practice. And we, again, changed may be desirable as changes in the accounting system as needed. We didn't know it would be desirable of a superintendent. That was subjective as well. So was that?
Lou, does that align with our current encumbrance practices?
Yes.
Yes. We always make sure. Steve said he consulted with you, Lou. Steve said he consulted with you, so if
Thank you.
not. Yes, we thank all of our outside consultants for some of these as well. The next one is 3410, which is system of accounts. There's no change to this except we are cutting out if you scroll down, Dr. Brumett, this note that was added in 2012, or the policy was adopted in 2012, assuming pursuant to general statutes. But there was a note from legal in this policy about GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board, that was issued in June 15th of 2010. We felt it wasn't necessarily relevant at this time, 15 years later. I think we're still following GASB. So just felt that was out of place. But other than that, it's a pretty short policy. It goes along with state statute. And the next one for budget and expense report, the annual financial statement. This is again required by state statute. So it's literally the state statute. So there was no changes to this one, but we did review it. And as always, we'll note when we reviewed it. All right, last two, 3440's inventories. We noted the minimal changes. We just took out the specific mentions of some school property. We felt that perhaps the use of typewriters was not relevant at this time. But again, this was 2001, so, you know, so we just took out the reference. It lists a plethora of different types of school property, and we put that all in under school property equipment and supplies. We felt that that was easier to report. And then we just kind of wordsmith the last sentence that said the inventory shall be made available to the board upon request. We just knew that it's not always probably pertinent at the time of the budget. We can obviously whenever request. So that was that. And then the last one was monies in school. Is this your wordsmithing too? Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Carr.
Again, we're taking the language that we had prior and just making it more clear cut. The issue I had with it originally was we're mentioning safes. I don't want people to think there's a big safe holding a lot of money in our schools and it's a great target for us to go to. So what we're putting here is just saying that procedures should be in place, including the use of night deposits or other approved secured methods to ensure all monies are appropriately safeguarded outside of regular banking hours.
I can change it from good and prudent business procedures, which is so vague.
Yeah. Some of the legalese we were not fans of, and Brittany makes it pretty and readable.
I also didn't like how they said demonstrate the ability of the school system employees, and to just, you know, this not only ensures accountability and security, but serves as a learning opportunity for students, you know.
It needed some updating, so.
Yeah.
So if there's no questions, we'd love to bring that, but as always, oh my God, when's our next policy meeting? 9th? I have June 9th. Yep. Tonight at 7 p.m. But we'll bring those back for review for old business. But if you have anything, let us know. And we'd love to bring those back to our last-ish board meeting of the school year. And next board policies for hopefully action. There really wasn't a lot of changes. I just will highlight some notes just to pick out. The relations with booster organizations we took back to update the regulation, not the actual policy itself, but to note that, and we changed some of the verbiage to talk about, like we had originally put like umbrella policy, but we noted that the policy might change, or Ms. Carr pointed that out. I will say, given her expertise in insurance law. So that last part, if you scroll all the way down, again, we don't vote on regulations here at the board, but we like to make sure we present it to you, everyone. So just for transparency's sake. So it's all the way down at the bottom. After 10, it says, please refer to the business office for the current status of the Booster Club insurance policy coverage. So we just changed that last part because we think it's important to note it that we do have insurance coverage, but that could be subject to change year to year. So in lieu of trying to update that all the time. So that was the only change we'd had since last meeting on that. And then I'll just note 2 other policies I think that we updated further was the 3260, the sale of books, sale and disposal of books, equipment, supplies. Mr. Versity noted too that we should add and furniture. And really the bulk of the paragraph that was added that we all approved of was scroll all the way down. It's the disposal of equipment. The bulk of our conversation was on obsolete books and also the definition of obsolete and all these things. Again, another 30-minute conversation of these things, but it is an actual process. All schools, districts have one. And it doesn't mean, and it's after an array of things, of steps to donate, to make sure we've donated it to parent-teacher organizations, nonprofits, offer them to libraries, literally everything. And then if that's the last resort, there is a process to do that. So it's not saying the knowledge is obsolete, just the versions of the books. And then we noted, Mr. Versity noted that we didn't have anything on the disposal part of the equipment and supplies and furniture. So we noted just the process that we use. So this is reflective of current practice. Mr. Holland.
Oh, I love the fact that you put furniture in there too. Very topical with John Wallace doing a renovation. Like
Yeah.
that was timely. Thank you.
And lastly, just wanted to put in that new policy. I know Chair Parati put out, just asked a question about the elementary versus, the use of cell phones and other personal electronic devices. Per our conversation, and the question that was asked about the use of devices, the differentiation between like middle and elementary. It just felt like the wording was a little like no use is permitted and like how that would read. So if you scroll down to kind of after 4, this is why Ms. Carr put those guidelines in. So after guidelines by grade level is where that comes into play. We just put use of devices during school hours is not permitted without staff authorization. And we know those will differentiate between the grade levels, and that will be expounded upon in the school handbooks. And really what we want to do is just pass this policy tonight, which will then give the clearance for our staff to put in the regulations for each school in their handbooks that will come out over the summer into the fall. So they'll print them out this summer. But that was the only change. I think it maybe gives more clarity. But if there's issues, we can bring it back. Okay, perfect. Great. Because we note that there are obviously exceptions to the rule, and that'll be up to staff's discretion. So those were the changes. Am I missing anything else?
Wonderful.
All right, great. So that do you want to make the motion? Do you want to?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to move the Board of Education to approve policies 1,211, 3,010 to 3,300, including the new numbering system for these policies and the elimination of policy 3171-1 appendix, and approve policies 4010, 5010, 5,131.81.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Call the vote, please.
Mary Beach.
Yes.
Brittany Carr.
Yes.
Tom Holloran.
Yes.
Andy Sherman.
Yes.
Timothy Newton.
Yes.
Amy Parati.
Yes.
Jessica Weaver.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously 7-0.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
We'll be back.
Yay. All right, that brings us back to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. There is no one in the room, and if there is anyone online, I don't see anyone online. So we move to remarks by board members. Miss Weaver.
Just very quickly, congratulations to everyone tonight. Always just great showing out. And I just want to say a quick thank you once again to the board for listening to our last meeting about Mr. Clark. Last Friday, we were able to celebrate him for a very long, I was there for 5 hours. But hearing past students, current students, friends, alumni, like everything was incredible. And we got to unveil it, the design of the plaque, which luckily we noted in jokes that Mr. Clark is not tech savvy at all. Mr. Brooks noted that, and he had no idea about it. I was like, good thing you don't watch our board meetings. He was like, what? What's going on? But yeah, and thank you, Dr. Rowan, for sending in a message. And yeah, it was just a wonderful, wonderful night of celebration, and I think reflects the best of our school community to hear from literally generations of students that have been educated. And we always say there's big shoes to fill, but Mr. Traeger before him was large shoes to fill. So I think Newington has a long tenure and legacy of making incredible music teachers. So just want to say thank you to the board and thank you to those members of the community that made it out. I know a recording will be coming soon. I'm anxiously awaiting to hear some really incredible performances, and I'll just give a shout out to some of the ones that were great to see, like someone from the class of 2003 performing with the class of 2025 was really cool to see literally spanning generations. So just want to say thank you, Mr. Clark, and I know we'll be celebrating them in all of our fun events to come. Thank you.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Just saying.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 9:20. Thank you, everyone.